All of us, and surely everyone here, wishes we go back and change what happened in the months, weeks, and days and minutes leading up to the tragedy on October 25th. We can't. However, we can look forward.
Those words today from the chairman of the commission looking into October's mass shootings in Lewiston as that panel has issued its final report. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Ucono.
And I'm Samantha York, in for Amanda Hill. It was the single worst violent crime in Maine history, and the commission says it was all the work of a single individual, Robert Card. However, others had the chance to stop him, but didn't.
Among the findings of the commission, that the Saginaw Sheriff's Department failed to use Maine's yellow flag law to place Card in custody and remove his weapons in the months before the shootings. That senior officers in Card's U.S. Army Reserve chain of command failed to take steps to reduce the threat he posed to the public as his mental state was clearly spiraling. And that while police ultimately did find Card's body a full 2 days later, the commission acknowledges the, quote, utter chaos among the hundreds of law enforcement officers in and around Lewiston in the first hours after that attack. At 215 pages in length, there is a lot to digest from the commission's report.
Here to break it down for us is News Center Maine's Caroline LaCour. And Caroline, there is a reason that this report is so dense.
That's right, Samantha. After 16 public meetings, 10 private interviews with victims and family members, and hours of reviewing documents, commission members say while nothing can be done to change the past, they hope the facts laid out in this report might be able to prevent a crime like this from ever happening in Maine again.
The commission unanimously finds that there were several opportunities that, if taken, might have changed the course of these tragic events.
A final conclusion after 10 months of investigating the events leading up to and following the tragedy that killed 18 people in Lewiston on October 25th.
Within minutes, the safety and security that we all feel as Mainers was shattered.
In a final report released Tuesday, members of the commission outlined what they say were missed opportunities by organizations that crossed paths with Robert Card, including the Army Reserve. Commissioners say members of Card's unit dropped the ball after he was discharged from a psychiatric hospital in New York.
Despite their knowledge, they ignored the strong recommendation of Card's mental health providers to stay engaged with his care.
The commission's report also cites the Saginaw County Sheriff's Office's failure to take Card into custody and take his guns away under Maine's yellow flag law. However, commissioners say Army Reserve leaders also failed to present all relevant information regarding Card with the sheriff's office, even discounting some of the risk Card posed.
Had members of Card's Army Reserve unit presented a full and complete accounting of the facts, the sheriff's office might have acted more assertively in September.
The report also details efforts made by Card's family and friends to alert authorities to his concerning behavior as early as May of 2023 by contacting the Army Reserve, law enforcement, and even calling crisis lines for help. But those efforts would not prevent the tragedy. As they release this final report, commissioners say they hope the truth found within its pages will allow policymakers and the public to learn from past mistakes while helping the healing process.
All of us, and surely everyone here, wishes we go back and change what happened in the months, weeks, and days and minutes leading up to the tragedy. We can't. However, we can look forward.
Brian, like you mentioned earlier, commission members also commented that while many officers showed a hefty amount of bravery in those first few hours following the shootings, at times it was utter chaos. While there are no recommendations given in this report, members say they hope the correct officials will read it and take the right steps to prevent another situation like this from happening again. Brian, Samantha.
Caroline LaCour in our studio tonight. Caroline, thank you.
Also in that room where the commission presented its report, friends and family members of those who died in the shootings.
And 2 lawyers who are representing them in civil actions that the lawyers say will be filed in the coming months. News Center Maine's Sam Olson is in Lewiston tonight with what they had to say about the report and what comes next. Sam.
Hi, Brian and Samantha. Seeing the report will most likely be emotional for many. As the commission notes, the tragedy could have been prevented. It's the piece of the puzzle that brings clarity for victims' families like Megan Vazella's. Megan lost her husband, Stephen, at Schmenge's Bar and Grill. She says she hopes the report will lead to accountability because there were so many missed opportunities that could have prevented this tragedy.
Every day, it's a journey, and I feel it's a journey I never asked for.
Megan Vazella's journey is one of grief and loss as she mourns the loss of her husband, Stephen, killed almost 10 months ago.
We've gone through a lot of broken pieces. It's like we're walking through the shards, one step at a time, one day at a time.
What makes the days even more difficult is knowing his death could have been prevented.
This was not a situation where someone just snapped and no one had any idea it was going to happen. The warning signs were there.
Missed signs the commission's report highlights. Signs that, had they been acted on, might have saved lives.
That the next step in this process needs to be real accountability. And that's where we come in.
Ben Gideon and Travis Brennan are the lawyers representing Vazella and about 90 other victims' family members and survivors. The pair says had the right people taken the right approach to the warning signs, families wouldn't have lost loved ones and survivors wouldn't be burdened with guilt.
Those of us who survived, we have a new kind of group, but it's still extremely difficult. What a sad group to be a member of.
Richard Morlock was playing cornhole at Schmenge's Bar and Grill when he all of a sudden heard gunfire. Morlock told the commission earlier this year he laid down on the floor and pretended to be dead to avoid being shot. He says he lost 4 close friends and the loss is hard to live with.
Our caring and love for them will never stop. Our love for them is immense.
Vazella says her healing process has been a roller coaster of emotions. She says she can't just rush past the grief and sadness that comes along with losing someone she built a life with. Her attorneys say they will be taking steps towards civil lawsuits over the next few months to hold people accountable and to make sure this never happens again in our community. Brian, Samantha.
Tough stuff. Thanks, Sam Olson, who is live in Lewiston for us. And if you'd like to read the full Lewiston Commission report for yourself, we've got it on our website or mobile app, along with the entire news conference, which you can also find on News Center Maine Plus.
And 2 more notes about that report. The commission dedicated it to the loving memory of the 18 people who lost their lives that night. A night meant for fun and games turned to horror. The commission also chose to use a quote, placing it just after the cover page. It is from one of the survivors that night, Danielle Jasper, who says, quote, "When there is someone who is a danger to themselves or to the community, do the uncomfortable task and protect us."